It's freaking Star Wars, baby!
Warning, Ahsoka series spoilers ahead. Now, ever since episode 5 of the newest Star Wars series, Ahsoka has aired, a lot of people have been debating one fact. Is Ahsoka Tano in the world between worlds physically, or is it something mentally, or a force vision, or Anakin just communicating through her? Well, I think I found the answer. And I know in my last video I said it doesn't really matter if she was actually there or not, and it still doesn't really matter. It's just a fact that it's been shown to us all along, and it's right in front of us in the episode of Ahsoka. And it's not just the clues. It's not, clues are something that we need to figure out. But this actually states it in the episode. But before I get into it, I would like to announce today's sponsors of this video. First is Sam Vanderplas 8970. Second is Plain Crazy 2. And third is Joseph Capana 3139. Thank you guys for everything you do. No, they don't sell me anything, and I don't sell them anything. They don't give me any products. They're just fans of the channel who wanted a shout out, and I said, okay, let's give them a shout out. And you could be the next shout out too if you just leave a comment that you'd like to be a sponsor. But here is their message.
By subscribing to my Star Wars channel, you're showing the world that socks sewn into your shoes saves time, and it should have been invented a long time ago. Yes, your shoe socks will stink really bad after a couple uses, but what do you care? You're the best there is, and people didn't even shower much until about 100 years ago. The world was a stinky place. Bring it back. Subscribe now and show the world that Star Wars rocks, and trends do have a tendency of coming back.
And with that little creepy message, let's get on with it. Now, in the Ahsoka series, episode 5, there are a lot of people debating whether or not Ahsoka was physically in the world between worlds, if it was the world between worlds at all, if Anakin was just visiting her in her head, or if she was playing out some dialogue, and the list goes on and on and on. But I'm here to tell you she was physically in the world between worlds, and it's stated plainly in the episode. Now, what happened? Well, Ahsoka was knocked off a cliff, kicked off a cliff, thrown off a cliff, use whatever synonyms or analogies you want for that. She fell off the cliff and fell into the world between worlds, where she'd lost her memory of how she actually got there until Anakin prompted her to remember it was her fight with Baylan Skoll that she definitely lost. Anakin then proceeds to take her back in time like some kind of ghost of Christmas past to show her a lesson, to show her things she's been holding inside her need to be let go. His turn to the dark side, how she was part of the Grand Army of the Republic and also inadvertently a cause of so much destruction and death, leading to what her legacy was per Baylan Skoll. And that just tells her that she needs to change her mindset in order to not become something that Anakin Skywalker became, which will lead to more death and destruction and likely her own death. She needed to choose life. Now, while all this is going on, and this is a big focal point of the story, there's more going on in the background. We get flashes over to where Hera and Captain Teva are looking for Ahsoka and Sabine, skimming the waters, doing scans, and so on and so forth. And Carson Teva says, what? There's nothing out here. She says, widen your search. He said, okay, but we're going to run into fuel reserves and probably run out of fuel and be stranded here. And she says, okay, widen your search. Why? Because Jason Syndulla says that Ahsoka is out there. He hears lightsabers, and also Hera hears it. Now, it isn't stated that Hera hears it, but you can see the look on her face that Jason is right. She can hear lightsabers crashing, meaning this is physically going on. But that's not the only thing that tells us that Ahsoka is actually in the world between worlds. And Hera even agrees with Carson Teva that there is nothing out there, that there's nobody out there, and soon they'll be stranded on this rock without any sign of Ahsoka and Sabine. But there's more to it. There is a huge emphasis on there is nothing out here. No Ahsoka, no Sabine. Meaning Ahsoka isn't just drowning in the water. She's been transported to the world between worlds, and it doesn't really make a difference if Anakin pulled her in there or if this is some kind of Jedi afterlife. Remember, we've not seen anything of the Jedi afterlife other than a couple Force ghosts appearing here and there. And we don't know what they go through once they die. This could be a ritual. This could be a part of their death ceremony, so to speak. I don't know if it'd be a ceremony dying, but Yoda said, celebrate those who have joined the Force. Don't grieve them. Remember, Yoda knows of the world between worlds. He sees Ezra there, or Ezra sees him there. I guess they see each other. Yeah, that makes sense. But Ahsoka is physically in the world between worlds, and it isn't until she starts coming to a certain realization that Chopper actually picks up something. It isn't much, but he picks up something. And it isn't until Ahsoka's final lesson is seen that she understands what Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker is trying to teach her, that they actually locate her and bring her up out of the water. So the clues, well, I don't want to say they're clues. It's spelled out for us right there in the episode. She's physically in the world between worlds because there is nothing showing on scanners of any sort of body of Ahsoka or Ahsoka struggling to survive in the water. There's nothing. She's not there. She's gone. That's just the way it is. But Jason hears the lightsabers crashing, and Hera also catches a faint glimpse or hearing or whatever of Ahsoka and Anakin fighting. She doesn't know who she's fighting. She just knows that there is a lightsaber battle going on. Maybe she assumes that Baylan Skoll's down there somewhere with her and they're still fighting. Now, a big focus of this episode was Ahsoka Tano's voyage into the world between worlds to gain this final lesson from Anakin Skywalker. But a lot of us have missed what's going on in the other scenes as well, with Carson Teva saying there's nothing down there, and Hera saying he's right, there's nothing down here, and there's no sign of him anywhere. So yeah, she's physically there. And for my final message, I just want to say that I've noticed a lot of the haters for this show on other YouTube channels have backpedaled. They've turned around and said this is actually a good show, and I agree with them. This show is great. It's so deep and so meaningful, and this is just what the Star Wars fandom needed, and Dave Filoni is a god for doing this, and I appreciate it so much. After the first 2 episodes of the Ahsoka series, a lot of people are saying this is boring, she's stoic, she's flat, and so on and so forth, and I might have even said a little bit of the same thing, but I wasn't hating on it for it. But at the same time, I was telling people, give the show a chance. It's only 2 episodes in and you're already hating on it or loving it or whatever. You haven't let the story grow. Let the story grow. Let the entire season play out before you judge it. And a lot of people that are still judging it, I just chalk them up as Disney haters and will never accept anything Disney does ever because they hate Disney. Okay, well, that's your right. Hate Disney. And for us Star Wars fans, this show is really something to behold. Now, Andor is still my favorite show, but Ahsoka's really coming into a close second. And I can't wait to see how the last 3 episodes of this come out. And the season 2 of Andor, maybe it tops this even, and then they just keep going back and forth. But this is something the Star Wars fans needed. Ahsoka needed this. Not only does it have the nostalgia and the Easter eggs and the callbacks to the original trilogy, the Clone Wars, and the prequel trilogy, it also has something new. Has new characters, new development, new stories, new depth, and more lore brought into it than what we had previously seen. And it's something that we should all be cherishing and thinking, wow, finally. Now, maybe I'm just being a little too optimistic or overly positive or something like that, but I love Star Wars. Star Wars has been a part of my life since 1977 when I was 4.5 years old, and I'm not just going to abandon it. No, I'm not saying that every series that has came out has been golden, and I'm not saying they've been trash either, but they sometimes were a little subpar, and this one just really over accentuates the positivity I've been screaming. Ahsoka is badass, and this show is going to be something to behold. Now let's see if Dave Filoni can finish it the way he started it and the way the middle is. Let's see if Dave Filoni can just drive it home, hit that hole in one. And for the naysayers that say, no, this show is going to be trash just like any other, think about all the Dave Filoni projects that we enjoy, the ones he's actually written, such as The Mandalorian, Rebels, the Clone Wars. He wasn't a writer on Resistance. Notice I don't talk about that show very much. Yeah, it wasn't that good. I know a lot of people like it, and that's your right, and you're allowed to love it. I just wasn't a big fan of the animation style, and I thought the main character was a bit goofy. But look at what Dave Filoni has given us. He's given us a lot of good story with a lot of good Star Wars lore. Now, I said in my last video that Dave Filoni should take over as creative helm for all of Star Wars. Now, that's not saying he should write everything, but he should be in the decision process for those stories. Keep Kathleen Kennedy on the back burners, let her pay for stuff and go fetch snacks or whatever. But yeah, let's keep Dave Filoni in that seat. Let's see what we can come up with Star Wars. I don't think the IP should be sold to Apple or any other corporation, because then people will just complain that it's just another corporation trying to make money. No, I think Disney should right their wrongs internally, and it looks like they're doing so. So applause to the Ahsoka series, Dave Filoni, and Lucasfilm for this one. Thank you. And before I go, here's another quick word from our sponsor.
Please subscribe to my channel. Your feet will not smell fresh and clean, but you will be happy that Star Wars is still alive and well. Sock shoes are a horrible idea, but I encourage you to think of a way to create a toilet built into the seat of your car. Let's put rest areas out of business once and for all. But subscribe to this Star Wars channel and bask in the glory that you've done the right thing.
And for those of you who know me and those of you who don't, I don't do paid sponsorships on my channel because I'm having a hard time finding any that really go along with what my channel is. I don't want to do a VPN service because that has nothing to do with Star Wars, but I do have some sponsors coming up, some really good ones, and they have a lot to do with Star Wars, and they're dedicated Star Wars fans as well. So be looking for that. Those are coming, and I hope you all enjoy those. But this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off. Until the next video, thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars community can be the only way.